Hi, good evening, everyone. I will call the July 7, 2025 meeting of the Newtown Township Board of Supervisors to order. I will note that the board did meet in executive session at 6 p.m. where we discussed the following matters. With regards to litigation, there are 3 zoning applications for the following properties: 3703 Westchester Pike, 3314 St. David's Road, 3671 Wyola Drive. With regards to personnel matters, we discussed 2 injury statuses of employees, 1 hiring update, and 1 potential personnel duty assignment. With that being said, Mr. Neese, please call the roll.
Mr. Altieri,
Here.
Ms. Roberts Lightcap,
Here.
Ms. Chanlis is not here. Mr. Russo,
Here.
Mr. San Francesco,
Here.
your engineer, solicitor, and manager are here.
Thank you very much, Mr. Neese. We'll now move down to section 4, which is the moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance. I'd ask that everybody please keep in their thoughts and prayers those individuals who have been the victims of the floods down in Texas. And we'll stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll now move down to section 5, agenda 5.1. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is made by Supervisor Russo, seconded by Supervisor Roberts Lightcap. Is there any board discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Section 6, public comment for agenda items only. If there's any members of the public who wish to provide any public comment, please go to the podium, state your name and address for the record. Let the record reflect that there is no public comment. Section 7, minutes, 7.1. Can I get a motion approving the minutes from the June 23rd, 2025 meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is made by Supervisor San Francesco, seconded by Supervisor Roberts Lightcap. Is there any board discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Section 8, reports. 8.1, report from the Township Engineer, Mr. Johnson.
Good evening. I have 2 items for tonight. The roads program. Last week, we had the pre-construction meeting with the contractors. And everything went well with that. With the notice to proceed has been issued. And as of right now, weather depending, they're anticipating construction will start the 2nd week of August. And starting with the Newtown roads and then proceeding through Springfield, Swarthmore, and the joint contract after that. At the last meeting, the board had asked about the pedestrian crossing at Widener Way and for us to reach back out to the developer. We did that. So the crossing, which is there at was that Carriage Drive coming out of the shopping center. There's intended to be a pedestrian crossing there. Through last fall and into the winter, we had talked with the developer about installing at their own lead to install a more robust crossing there, which involved managing traffic and better improvements for pedestrians across, recognizing they exist. The response back from the developer, they had gone through the exercise and the price tag came out to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $400,000 for what they would like to install there, which given their various costs on the project, they needed to acquire some funding for that. And they're actually said they're applying for grant funding at the moment for that, and that they would hope to be installing it. So they're still looking to develop it, but it's delayed at this point.
It's a multimodal grant, correct?
Correct. MTF, I think they were going for, yes.
Yeah.
So we will follow up with them to try and keep that moving along. But just wanted to give you an update to your question.
Eric, thanks for following up with that. I appreciate that. And also the email that you sent. With regards to the road program, so you're saying 2nd week of August is when they're going to begin the Newtown side of that?
Correct. That is the schedule. The tentative schedule they've given us is the week of August 10th. Of course, there's weather between now and then that could impact paving, but that's the week we're targeting right now.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, report from any questions for Mr. Johnson? Seeing none, we'll move to 8.2, report from the township manager, Mr. Neese.
Yes, this is just kind of an update from our last meeting. You had asked us to continue to look at the avenues and the parking along the streets that come in from Media Line. It is the recommendation of staff at this point that we just really let people get used to the stop signs that are there, make sure we enforce the 30 feet, no parking up to the stop sign, which might require a couple of signs just to give people an idea of where that 30 feet mark is, and see how that goes before we do anything else. And that's all I have.
Thank you very much. Any questions for the township manager? Seeing none, we'll now move down to section 9, payments, 9.1. Can I get a motion approving certificate of payment request number 2 totaling $144,429.43 for Jurek Inc. associated with the Upper St. Albans Stormwater Improvements Project as approved by the township engineer, leaving a retainage balance of $46,771.32.
So moved.
Motion was made by Supervisor Robert Lightcap, seconded by Supervisor San Francisco. Is there any board discussion? Eric, I know that we've had a good amount of rain. Everything's working as designed, correct?
Correct, everything, all the grass is stable, all the water seems to be flowing through the pipes, none of the neighbors, have any registered any complaints or issues with the system, so it appears to be doing exactly what, we anticipated.
I was over there and a lot of the neighbors were very happy with the improvements. So it's a good project. It's good.
Great.
Delivery for them. So good job. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. 9.2, can I get a motion approving contract change order number 1 for a net deduction of the contract totaling $7,665.36 for Garland GBS Incorporated associated with the municipal complex roof project as approved by the township engineer?
Second.
Motion was made by Supervisor San Francisco, seconded by Supervisor Roberts Lightcap. Is there any board comment?
Can you explain to me what change order number 1 for a net deduction? So is it the contract's going to be reduced by this amount?
The total amount of contract that you had approved, when it started the project, the end cost of the project is $7,600 less than what you had approved.
Okay.
And what you awarded, so it's a net savings then.
Yeah, because I see that on 9.4 as well. And usually when I see change orders, I don't see them reducing
So-
anything. It's
No,
always additions.
No, you were correct. Let's call it the full term would be a quantity rectifying change order. So we're just doing the accounting to deduct down what the original contract was.
Eric,
To the
that's so much
final
more
price.
clear than net deduction. Why didn't we put that in the motion? Quantity reducing.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
so I just wanted to be sure that it wasn't, you
No,
know, a
this
double
is,
negative or something,
no,
so.
this is just and similar to another agenda item coming up, it is just the accounting that the contract is a net reduction and we're balancing off the final quantities of what
Okay.
was approved to what the final payment.
Well,
was.
change orders, they give it back to us, so that's good.
Yes.
So, thank you, thanks for the explanation.
Any other board discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. 9.3, can I get a motion approving certificate of payment request number 5 totaling $148,141.53 for Garland DBS Incorporated associated with the municipal complex roof project as approved by the township engineer, leaving a retainage balance of $43,105.33.
Second.
Motion was made by Supervisor Russo, seconded by Supervisor Roberts Lightcap. Is there any board discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. 9.4, can I get a motion approving contract change order number 1 for a net deduction of the contract totaling $11,790.06 for Charles A. Higgins and Sons Incorporated associated with the Gradyville Road and Goshen Road feedback signs as approved by the township engineer?
Second.
Motion was made by Supervisor San Francisco, seconded by Supervisor Roberts Lightcap. Is there any board discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. 9.5, I get a motion approving the certificate of payment request number 2, final totaling $24,440.39 for Charles A. Higgins and Sons Incorporated associated with the Gradyville Road and Goshen Road Speed Feedback Signs Project as approved by the township engineer, leaving a retainage balance of $0.
So moved.
Motion is made by Supervisor Roberts Lightcap, seconded by Supervisor San Francisco. Was there any board discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. 9.6, can I get a motion approving contract change order number 1 for a net deduction of the contract totaling $1,575 for Premier Concrete Incorporated associated with the St. Albans Circle Improvements Project as approved by the township engineer?
Second.
Motion was made by Supervisor San Francisco, seconded by Supervisor Roberts Lycap. Is there any board discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. $9.7, can I get a motion approving certificate of payment request number 3, final totaling $20,707.87 for Premier Concrete associated with the St. Albans Circle project as approved by the township engineer, leaving a retainage balance of $0.
Second.
Motion was made by Supervisor Russo, seconded by Supervisor Roberts Lycap. Is there any board discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. And I will just make note that the payment for the above items and items 11.1 and 12.1 will be on a separate check run. It is not included in item 10. It will be processed and checks issued prior to the next meeting. Now we'll move down to section 10 bills, 10.1. I've reviewed the bills and I'll make a motion to approve the bills on check register dated July 7th, 2025, totaling $279,431.80. Motion was made by the chair, seconded by Supervisor San Francisco. Is there any board discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Section 11, developer release, 11.1. Can I get a motion approving escrow release number 3, final in the amount of $127,582.14 to Real Estate Group Investments LP at 3407 Westchester Pike, leaving a remaining balance of $0.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is made by Supervisor Roberts Lycap, seconded by Supervisor San Francisco. Is there any board discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Section 12, new business 12.1. I get a motion considering the $175 refund to the Danish Brotherhood Lodge for the application fee for the pavilion at Drexel Lodge due to a cancellation.
Second.
Motion is made by Supervisor San Francisco, seconded by Supervisor Roberts Lycap. Is there any board discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. 12.2. Can I get a motion approving the settlement agreement with Rafferty Subaru Incorporated, the Rafferty Trust, and the Newtown Township Delaware County Municipal Authority, resolving the appeal of the township's grant of conditional use approval for a pump station access?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is made by Supervisor Roberts Lycap, seconded by Supervisor San Francisco. And Mr. Sikora, I will turn it over to you.
This all stems back from the dispute between the property owner and the municipal authority for land that it condemned for the value of, the land that it condemned for. Closer to the, this all stems back to the dispute over land condemned from the property owner by the municipal authority for access to a pump station. There was disputes over whether the land could be condemned for the purpose for which it was, and then there was disputes over the value of the land condemned. In the meantime, the township provided the municipal authority after the condemnation conditional use approval to encroach upon steep slopes for the access drive itself. That was appealed by the property owner. So there was all these legal proceedings hanging out there. All the parties reached an agreement wherein certain credits would be given by the municipal authority to the property owner to account for just compensation. That doesn't concern us. That's between them. What our simple part of this is, the appeal to our conditional use decision is dropped, and we're simply releasing the property owner from any liability as a result of bringing that appeal. And that's it. So I recommend approval.
Any questions for the solicitor from the board? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. 12.3. Can I get a motion to send the change of fence location and height in the accessory structure ordinance to the county planning department and township planning commission for review? And if the reviews are favorable, approve advertising for board action.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is made by Supervisor Russo, seconded by Supervisor Roberts Lycap. Mr. Sikora.
So your staff solicitor had created a accessory structure ordinance to supplement our zoning ordinance, which was put before you. You approved sending it to the planning commission for review, which included changes to our existing fence ordinance. Upon further discussion between the staff and myself, we decided, hey, let's hold off on the accessory structure ordinance because we think there's just more more that we should be doing. And so we wanted to pull that back, but one of the things that really comes before zoning boards a lot in the meantime is these fence issues. So our recommendation was to extract out portions of the ordinance that you approved to send to the planning commission for review, just as to fences, walls, front yard hedges, driveway pillars, and send that portion to the planning commission. And then we'll circle back with the rest of the accessory ordinance for your re-review. So this is just allowing us to send that watered down ordinance to the planning commission for their review. And if approved by the Delaware County Planning Department and the planning commission in its current form, also approve the advertising so we can bring it back to you in one package.
Any questions from the board? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. 12.4, consider approving, authorizing the staff to take the necessary steps, including advertising to fill accounts payable payroll specialist position in the finance department.
So moved.
Second.
Motion was made by Supervisor Roberts Lycap, seconded by Supervisor Russo. Mr. Neese.
As you recall, I believe it was back in like mid-April or so that Mike Newell, our person who handled accounts payable and payroll had left, wanted to give Tom, our new finance director, a little bit of time to decide exactly what was the best replacement. He and I have talked on several occasions of what we think would be the right fit to help the township and to help him be able to do his job. And we came up with the title of accounts payable payroll specialist, which is roughly the same position that was there, but with a few other job description pieces added in regards to some reconciliation and some things like that, that will allow for some more efficiency in that area. And so we would like to start that search process. We think it will probably take, knowing how things go, it'll probably take a month or two to get down to the right candidate and then get it presented to you. So we'll probably be, 2 to 3 months before we have somebody before you. So we just want to make sure we do that right.
All right. Any questions, additional questions for the township manager? All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Section 13, board comment. I have a couple of things to say. The first one is, I will note that the NEL 12U tournament team is up playing district champion playing in the districts right now against Ridley. They have to win twice. They got to win tonight. They got to win tomorrow to eliminate Ridley because Ridley has no losses. So that game is going on right now. I want to thank all of the volunteers and first responders who put on a phenomenal 4th of July parade. As always, it's always been a great community event. And I think that this was no different this year. Want to note that the township was awarded last week a Transportation Sustainability Award from the Delaware County Transportation Management Association. Supervisor San Francisco, Vice Chair Robert Lycap, and Supervisor Russo were all present for the award presentation along with the township manager. So, but that Mr. Neese, that there's a press release that's going out, but that award is in recognition of the township's sustainable transportation infrastructure that we've been pushing, our trail system, our sidewalks, connectivity between neighborhoods, connectivity between municipalities. And so an independent organization that has been advocating for this for years across the county has seen what we've been doing. As we said at that meeting, it's not a finish line. It's just validation of what we're doing is aligned to today's sustainable transportation standards. And it's a great thing for the township. More on that will come from the press release, which has been issued this evening. And I believe will be up on the township website and everything else tomorrow. Last thing I want to note is House Bill 209, which I've spoken a lot about to this board and to this community. By way of background, back in, January, we adopted a stormwater ordinance here in the township. I know there's a misconception that we have lax ordinances when it comes to development and environmental standards. It's actually quite the contrary, which is why we continue to rack up recognition for it. We adopted the state stormwater ordinance and beefed that up even more. And we found out that after we adopted it, that there was a developer who wanted to vest and so filed an application. And so it started getting me doing some research of why is it that in second-class townships, we have to wait 5 days for an ordinance to become effective. but in the first-class townships and the boroughs, it becomes effective immediately. And there's an inconsistency in the three different governing statutes, right? So we were treated, second-class townships, as second-class citizens in a way. Our ordinances weren't coming to effect right away. Reached out to our state representative, said, listen, this is a little odd, it's a little quirky in the way that the language is. She, to her credit, Lisa Borowski, jumped on it, introduced legislation. That was introduced as House Bill 209 in February. Myself and Supervisor San Francisco went up there. I testified before the House Local Government Committee. It came out unanimously and then made it out of the House 196-7, I think was what the final number was. And then in June, it was sent over to the Senate, went up for the Senate Local Government Committee, passed out of there unanimously, and then came out of the full Senate 49-1. The governor signed it the week before last Friday, which is amazing for us. It's amazing for every second-class township. There's 47% of the state's population lives in a second-class township. So this is a common sense piece of legislation that was, as Representative Borowski says, homegrown by our own personal experiences. But what's great about it and sad about it is that the governor signed the law into effect in June, but it was only the third law that they've signed into law. It was only the third bill that Harrisburg has signed into law. So while we continue to do our work here, Harrisburg likes to take their time up there doing anything. So that was a good thing. It's a great thing, as I said, for second-class townships. It's a great thing for Newtown Township. And so now when we pass ordinances, Solicitor Sikora can now write at the bottom of the ordinance, this takes effect immediately. And no, it's because of Newtown Township. Any other board comment? We'll move down to section 14, public comment. Go to the podium, state your name and address for the record.
Paul Seligson, 4727 Mill Hollow Lane. I want to thank everybody for the participation with American Bloom Advisors. The advisors were here on June 19th and 20th, and you guys really helped push boulders, move mountains, and make their experience really as good as it could be. They came away remarking at the general enthusiasm by everybody they met. And they were very wowed with the amount of cooperation, the amount of cross-pollination, so to speak, and how people jump fences and jump into other people's, we're all helping each other. And they saw that. We don't get the written report until after the symposium. The symposium is going to be sometime the end of September, middle of October. And that's when we get to see our 25 pages of written results. But that's the first thing I want to talk about. Thank you very much. The second thing is the amusement tax. I'm aware that there is an amusement tax and it's being levied on ticket sales at a PGA Championship golf for May 11th to the 19th of next year. And it's going to be, to me, it's going to be quite a pile of money. It's going to be a big amount. And I would like the board to consider the idea of starting the thought process of what's the distribution, because so many of the committees that I've bumped into, whether it be historic or the fire department or Parks and Recreation, and I know there's 2 parks that need capital improvements, and I know that perhaps there's still some stormwater issues that you want to tackle, and that might give you the money, but I think there's going to be quite a lot of money. And I'm suggesting that perhaps there should be some thought, either by the Finance Committee or by yourselves or somehow, of what is the distribution of the amusement tax, which is 10% of ticket sales. PGA people have told me now twice that they expect 200,000 people here. I have that, and I'm using 100,000, and I'm sort of using $500 as a standard ticket price. And that comes out to $51 million for ticket sales and probably close to $5 million for Newtown Township. So, I mean, that's just me playing around. There are going to be a lot of hospitality tents. There'll be a lot of people that are invited to come here who don't pay anything. Their companies are going to be sponsoring them. So, you know, even though they say it's 200,000, that doesn't mean there's 200,000 all paying. You know, some of them are going to be invited. That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much. Anyone else for public comment? All right, ladies and gentlemen, this meeting's adjourned. Thank you.
Aye.